losers. Inspire.
Welcome back to another Wisdom Wednesday discussion. I am your guide, Sounds Inspired, generating, uplift, inspiring, developing, and empowering you to live inspired every day, forever, because that's life. Today is a little different because we are live from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Shout out to DevConnect and the Ethereum Foundation for supporting this event that we're able to attend as a volunteer and the lead. Today, we're talking about reclaiming the voice. That's why I think it's special, yet not a coincidence, where we are right now. Because the only way that we get here is by reclaiming our voice. We couldn't be in this position by being silent. We couldn't be in this position by being fearful. We certainly couldn't be here if we were uncertain and doubtful. So I do want to say that if service or the sound is a little bit different, it's because the environment that we're in. This is something that we've never done before. And that's what this is all about. Being inspired, living inspired every day forever is about doing things you've never done before. Every day is different. Every moment is different. And we embrace that. Why? Because we love outreaching set expectations regarding self. A few years ago, we didn't expect to be here. We didn't know we'd be here. And that's what we love about it. We may not know what tomorrow holds, yet we are prepared when tomorrow comes to exceed the expectations of yesterday. That is how we make today. So our focus for this discussion is reconnecting our inner authority by expressing truth rooted in love, not fear, to speak from the soul rather than the world. And this time I had to bring my notes on the road. So let's get started. We're going to start by affirming that my words create worlds. And the intent is so that we empower our authentic expression that aligns our mind, our heart, and our spirit, restoring the voice as the divine instrument of truth, healing, and creating. Because as that divine instrument of truth, our voice does heal, our voice does restore, and our voice does create. And as we go through this discussion, we are going to see how our voice is instrumental in either creating life or death. Outcome is going to be to awaken confidence within ourselves so that we can express and reclaim our voice as the vessel that is creating our renewed life. Because remember, out with the old life, in with renewed life, where we are living inspired every day, forever. So to start, the opening is about awakening confidence, right? The wound echo versus the soul's resonance, the power of spoken word. And when I was growing up as a teenager, as a kid, I always loved poetry. I always loved spoken word, to be a lyricist. Yet I didn't understand quite fully the power of those words. Yet we know that when we read poetry, when we hear certain words, they affect an emotion. They create emotion within us. And so the wound echo versus the soul's resonance. Are we speaking from the hurt, which is that a wound echo, something that we can continuously hear over and over and over again? The fears, the uncertainty, the doubts, the childhood trauma that echoes in our mind, and then we begin to express from that. I don't think I'm capable of something. I may not be. I'm fearful. I don't think. I don't know. Those are the wounds. What we want to speak from is the resonance of our soul. It tells us you can. It's on the other side of that doubt, on the other side of that fear. And that voice may not be as loud as that echo, but it's still there. It's always been there. And we want to make that voice, put that voice in the lead, shall I say. So the guided question that I want to start with is, where have you been speaking from old pain rather than present truth? Where have you been letting the past hurts write your current script? And how can we begin to move past that? Did you know that your voice was sacred? Did you know that your voice has always been sacred? I know for me personally, I didn't used to like hearing my voice. If you recording yourself talk or hearing yourself speak, I didn't used to like hearing that. And I was uncomfortable speaking in front of people. And my teachers used to always tell me, your voice carries, tone it down. So because of that, I began to speak a lot softer. I began to whisper to the point where people would be like, why are you talking so low? I can't hear you. And then I'd be like, well, because they said I was talking loud. Now I'm talking too low. I won't talk at all. I began to dim or diminish my own voice. And that had a specific, deliberate effect on my life. As I diminished my voice, my presence was diminished. I wasn't confident. I didn't speak from power. I didn't speak from belief. I spoke from doubt. I spoke from fear. The fear of being too loud, the fear of not being right, the fear of being wrong, uncertain about the things that I would say because I lacked that belief in myself. And then as I began to gain more confidence, as I began to seek first, to go within myself to find out what the issue really was, I realized that that same voice that I was diminishing is also the same voice that is used to bless, to affirm, to heal, to call things into being. And as long as I was diminishing, I wasn't healing, I wasn't blessing. And what I was calling into being wasn't the life that I wanted to live. Because regardless if I was fearful, uncertain, or doubtful, I was still creating with my voice. When I would say, I can't do something, that's what I created. I wasn't creating life. I was creating death through doubt. So I wasn't doing anything because I would tell myself, I can't. No, not me. And what did that create? How did that affect me? One of the biggest ways is my voice wasn't being heard. I told you, people say, I can't hear you. You got to speak up, speak louder. But I was afraid to speak louder. So I was afraid to hear myself. I didn't like my voice. So if I'm afraid to hear myself, if I'm afraid to speak louder, how present am I? I'm not going to show up. I'd be in class knowing the answer, afraid to raise my hand because I didn't want to be wrong. And then the teacher would say the answer, and then I'm like, I knew that, but I didn't have the courage to speak. So are you being, one thing I would ask myself as I began to want to develop my voice, is my voice being heard or am I being heard? So one of those is heard, H-E-A-R-D, hearing. The other one is being heard, H-E-R-D. That herd mentality, not listening internally, only externally. I wasn't hearing my voice because I was being a part of the herd. Didn't want to speak. I'll just blend in. But we're not here to be a part of the herd. We're here to be heard, to be loud and clear. So how could I be present in my life and have my life be clear if I was afraid of being heard, if I couldn't hear? And if I wasn't hearing that internal voice, then what was I listening to? The external voices. So you diminish the internal voice, the soul's voice, that which comes from God, and we listen externally to the herd's voice. And they're always going to tell you what you want to hear, but what you don't need to hear. So when I say what you want to hear that it's okay. What you need to hear is you need to speak up. It's not okay to diminish yourself. It's not okay to be fearful. It's not okay to accept that doubt, but the herd will pacify you. Oh no, it's okay. You don't want to be too loud. You don't want to stand out because then this and this happened. They use that fear to increase your uncertainty and to strengthen that doubt. This is time that we're reversing that and we're going to stand out. Because how many of us, unfortunately, silence our truth? How many of us are diminishing ourselves to avoid conflict, because I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. Yet, have we ever asked ourselves if that is what you are here to do, to ruffle feathers? Because comfort and complacency go hand in hand. And one thing I did learn during my time in the Marines was, hey, gents, complacency kills. You ain't got time to be complacent. If you be comfortable, then maybe something's wrong with that. And if we are complacent in our lives and comfortable in that fear and uncertainty and doubt, that's the issue. Because ruffling feathers means that you're no longer fearful. Maybe you say, you're not going to do that. Maybe you're setting boundaries and people don't want you to set boundaries. And your boundaries ruffle feathers. Having a fear of being rejected by others, by society. So if I have that fear of being rejected by others and by society, guess what I reject? Myself. And if we're rejecting ourselves, then what are we accepting? What am I putting in place of me? For again, if I am made in the image of God and I reject that, then what am I putting in that place? What is it that I'm accepting? I know a lot of times we don't think like that because we're not heard. It's hard to think like that when you're part of the herd. Ain't got no time for that type of thought. Matter of fact, a lot of times being part of the herd, you don't have time to think. If you've ever been in a crowded space, you're just being pushed. Move. You don't even have time to look left, look right. They're just move. This is how our life is going. Being part of the herd, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to stop, to be still. And if we're told to be still and know, yet we don't have time to be still, what then do we know? Not ourselves, not that which is connected internally, divinely. We are then connected externally. So what happens when you misunderstand yourself? How can you understand your universal alignment? How can you have a deeper connection with the Spirit, with God, if you misunderstand yourself, but you know everything else? Is that not why we are suffering? Because I know so much about the world, and I can tell you history, and I can try and predict the future, and I can quote this scholar and that scholar. But if you ask me about myself, I don't know. If you ask, what is your purpose in life? I don't know. But I can sit and speculate what somebody meant by what they said, and we can speculate about somebody else's life and what this means and who's doing what. But I don't even know about myself. So misunderstanding ourselves, we misunderstand the world. We misunderstand our purpose in it. We misunderstand our place, our relation to God. Matter of fact, we have no relation. And I know when I was in that space, that's when I was not believing. Anytime something happened, oh, it wasn't my fault, I'm cursing God. I'm blaming somebody else. Misunderstanding. And the more I began to understand myself, aha, the light bulb comes on. Now I see my place in the world. I understand my purpose. I know what I am here to do. We are live from Argentina because of this. This isn't a boast or a brag. This is an example. Because I know if I can do it, you damn sure better believe you can do it, whether you know me or not. It's just like the saying, anything I can do or anything you can do, I can do greater. You are able to achieve even greater works than thee. Do you believe? Because when you hear that, when someone tells you that, first thing that may pop up is, I don't know. You know why? Because the biggest hater, most of the times, is not them, it's not him or her, it's you, it's me, it's ourselves. We are our biggest hater. The biggest doubter in the room lives inside your own mind. Is your voice being heard? Have you even heard your voice? Or are you hearing that from maybe your parents, siblings, friends, family, teachers, the world that told you what you cannot do, that put you in that box? And that's what's playing in your mind. You may not even ever heard your voice. You may think that's you talking. And what we want to do is begin to hear truly our voice, because that voice is connected to God. And oh my God, what a beautiful sound it is. For your voice is vibration. Your voice is energy in motion. for even hearing these words from my voice. They cause some type of reaction, whether positive or negative. Whether you are saying, you're right, you got something to that, or whatever. I ain't trying to hear this. This is proof that my words create worlds. This is proof that your voice is vibration. Your voice is power, energy in motion, because it can either heal by saying positive things, like as a child when you hear, I love you from your parents, versus being hurt as a child when you hear, shut up, you stupid. Why would you say that? Why would you do that? All the negative, diminishing things that we may hear, not just from our parents, but from the world. That is what hurts you. So how do your words not have power? How do your words not create? For the anchor that we have is, let your voice be the echo of your soul, not your wounds. Let your voice be the echo of your soul, not your wounds. Don't let your voice speak from the hurt that you felt. So now you're distrustful. Let it speak from the soul, because even deep down, that's not the way I should be. Even though this person did this to me, I don't need to do it to somebody else. And I damn sure shouldn't be doing it to myself. And if I'm not able to look in that mirror and relate in a positive way, then how am I relating? Because when we speak from our wounds, we create pain. Yet, when you speak from your truth, this is how you create. You manifest healing. And we hear that word so much, manifest, that it may have created a distasteful feeling. Yet that is what we are dealing with now, because that's all we're doing. A lot of times we hear, oh, I manifested this blessing in my life. So it's all good. But you have manifested curses as well, especially speaking down on yourself, speaking negative. Manifestation isn't just a positive, it's creation. So you told yourself you couldn't do it, you manifested that. You didn't do it. So we want to simply understand what we are doing so we can diagnose what we are doing. Ooh, I know how I did that now. I can see back then when I was doubtful and how I doubted it and how I spoke that into existence. And now I can see how I'm speaking different, more positive, and I'm speaking that into existence. Something simple as telling yourself, I'm sick and tired. And then guess what you end up? Sick and tired. I hate this. I hate you. And then something happens to that person. Something happens to yourself. And a difference is made when we say, you know what? I love you. You can feel it. So we're going to say what we mean. And we're going to mean what we say. Because the voice is a vessel. And we're going to use this vessel. So now we move into our keys to life. Our keys to living inspired every day forever is understanding our voice as a vessel. Understanding that your authentic voice isn't found somewhere. You're not about to look around and say, oh, I found it. Oh, here it is. You express that. It's already in motion. So we want to be content and make a commitment to speak from our center. You didn't find it. You manifested it. You were intent on doing it. So you know what? I've tried everything else. Let me try this. Let me try to speak positively. See what that creates. Or we can continue to accept the doubt and see what that creates. Either way, you're a creator. Either way, you have power. Every word you speak carries a frequency. And just like a radio, what station are you tuned into? 98.7, The Doubt. We want to tune into the right station. We want to attune our frequency into a higher vibration. So we are speaking life. And the anchor that we have to back this up, the anchor that we have to show us that our voice is a vessel, comes from Matthew chapter 5, verse 37. And it says, but let your communication be nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. But let your communication be nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. It's about setting those boundaries and understanding that the spirit communicates clearly. Ain't no static. It's clear. It's direct. And it's truth. So it's clear. You hear it. And it comes directly to you. There's no middleman. You don't need me to tell you. When I'm standing in the middle, that's not truth. That ain't clear. That ain't spirit. So If I'm sitting here trying to tell you what the word means and what it says, I am now communicating to you. But Spirit speaks directly to you. So you don't need me. You don't need them. You need to be still. You need to be heard, to move from the herd. Because simply in speech, our simplicity in speech, not trying to complicate things, trying to use big words and make it sound all fancy. Simple speech that reflects integrity in the spirit. Because it's simple. When something told me not to do it, it didn't. There was no mixed words in there. It was clear to you. You heard it. You felt it. But then you decided to go against it because you didn't know. Or maybe you did, but you didn't trust. That's the spirit speaking to you. We always say, something told me. That something is your spirit. Because notice, it didn't tell you to go do what you did. It was trying to warn you against that. It didn't tell you to stay in that situation. It was telling you how to get out. Yet, maybe you sought counsel from somebody else and they told you to go against that voice and you trusted the external more than the internal. It's okay. We've all been there. Yet we don't want to continue to be there. So this isn't where we beat up on ourselves and say, oh, I did this and I'm wrong. This is where we understand ourselves. This is where we give grace to ourselves. This is where we speak from love. I remember going against that before. Now I'm hearing it clearly. I don't want to go against that anymore. So I take those steps to listen more intently and then to express that in my actions in life. So when it says, but let your communications be yay, nay, nay. When I say no, it means no. Remember what your mama used to tell you? Boy, I said no. Well, your daddy said, all right, now I done told you. And then when they told you yes, same thing. When you say yes, it's a yes. When you say no, let it be no. For anything that cometh, more than that cometh from evil. When you say no and you go against that, that cometh from evil. Because they said, I'm not going to go to that party. It was like, you don't want to miss out on. Then you went. Something happened. You said, something told me not to. A person trying to talk you into something. You're like, nah, I don't think I should. Man, da, da, da. Then you did it. And you said, man, something told me not to do that. Damn. Just like when you said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that podcast. I'm going to write that book. I'm going to commit to that healthy lifestyle, that action. And then said, not today. Don't do it today. Let's do something else. You went against that. Tell me that didn't cometh of evil. Tell me that didn't cause some type of obstruction, distraction in your life. Let it be clear and stand on it. Because when you say no, and you set that boundary and no, you're going to lose people. But are those people the people you wanted around anyway? Maybe those were the people that would tell you to go against yourself. So do they need to be there in the first place? When you say, yes, I'm going to step out on faith, you step out on it. There's no negating that. I'm here in Argentina and it is day 5, I think. Let's see. We got here last Thursday. So it's what, day 6? Tomorrow will be a week. And I booked my stay before I got here through a third party, a mediator, a middleman. Paid my money. When I got here and got to the place, they was like, what? You got a booking here? First of all, we don't even use that service anymore. What do you mean? They told me that it was available and I paid them. We don't use that anymore. We go directly through this. I said, what? So here I am in Argentina. I don't speak Spanish fluently. So I'm a language barrier. I don't know my way around. And at that moment, this is when the doubt creeps in. This is when the fear comes up. What am I going to do? I start getting anxious, but I'm reminded to be still. So that's what I did. We're not going to panic. I'm stepping out on faith. I ain't stepping out. I'm standing. I'm living out on faith. I'm going to be taken care of. Surely enough. They didn't have to. The property owner invites me into the garage, sits me down. We're on the phone with the service. Don't want to say the service because we're not going to throw nobody under the bus. Calls them and says, can you refund him? Because we don't even use y'all anymore. Then proceeds to take me to a hotel, communicate clearly to them that I needed a room. and I had a place to stay for that night. But mind you, I'm here for 10 days. I had it booked for 10 days. That's canceled. I now only have a room for 2 nights, but I had a room. And so at the end of those 2 nights, I need to relocate from Quilmes to Palermo. This is 40 minutes away. I get here, still don't have a room. Hotels booked, reaching out to Airbnbs, book one of those, didn't respond. 24 hours later, it is 3 a.m. I still don't have a place. But prior to that, I decided to go to an event. And here I am in another country, and the only thing that's on my mind is, where am I going to sleep tonight? And I'm worried. And you know what happens when you worry? It's hard to think clearly. When you're afraid and that doubt comes up, first thing I wanted to do, I'm at an event, drinks is flowing, and I was like, I should get a drink. But then it spoke clearly to me, don't do that. Why? Because if you drink, you won't be clear-minded. If you drink because of that fear, it's only going to increase that fear. Now, if I was drinking to celebrate, that was different. If I was drinking just because I wanted to be happy, this is something I wanted to do, outcome would have been different. But I wanted to drink to subside my fear, to run away from the issue. We can't do that. You don't live like that when you're out on faith. Because when I'm out on faith, that means I have belief in something. So what did I decide to do? Let go in a different way. Music was playing, I'm a dance, whatever. So again, this party was gonna end at 1 o'clock. So from about 11 to 1, I just decided to dance, not even thinking about nothing. Just gonna let go and let God. 1 o'clock comes, they extend it. No, they gonna go a little longer. So now at least I have a place to be. I'm safe in that moment. Night is over with. Let's see. I'm in Argentina. There's hostels. So I found a hostel because I was deciding to be in that moment, to be thankful, number one, that I just have a place to be right now. I'm safe. My luggage is good. I'm good. This is when I want to cross somebody and say, hey, there's hostels here. And if anything else, we got 24-hour cafes. You can stay in there until the morning and then you can go to your event. So I was already committed. Good. I got something that I can do. Went to the first hostel. We have no rooms. Online, it said you did. We have no rooms. Found another hostel. We have no rooms. At the second hostel, this individual decides to help me. He calls and says, hey, they have a room for the night. So then I go there. Long story short, for the first 5 days that I was here, I had no guaranteed place to stay. So after each day, Monday, volunteer, I'm bringing all my luggage with me to the event, all my luggage with me, just to find a new place for the night. It wasn't until last night that something opened up to guarantee that now I have a place to stay until I leave. And that's where we are right now, able to do our live discussion. But for me, the moral of the story was to keep that faith, that belief. And I watched as I was taken care of. And the reason why that's important for me is because a lot of times we worry about tomorrow. We forget about today, this moment right now. How are you in this moment? Your bills is due, but are they due right now? And even if they are due right now and you ain't got the money, are you okay right now? Because that worry is going to block the voice that you need to hear, the lesson that you need to learn, the understanding. And that's what's going to create that chaos. But I was able to be still in those moments and recognize that every night I had a place to stay. Even if I had to sit in a coffee shop for 24 hours, I had a place to be. My health was good. I was in a safe environment. And then it was like a video game. Ding, reward. Here you go. 1 night stay. Now let's see if you're going to go against that belief. And we're going to double down. Bing, 2 night stay. Okay. So from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, no guarantees. This is living inspired every day forever because, to be honest, there's no guarantees. But right now, tomorrow is not guaranteed. How many people do we know that woke up on Monday, went to sleep, and wasn't there Tuesday? So there's no guarantee. So worrying about tomorrow is not, that's a luxury. Yet the true wealth, the true richness is in today, this moment right now. Not worrying about tomorrow. Yep, my rent's due tomorrow. Oh well, we're going to live it up today. We're going to find a way to escape fear today. Because when that voice is speaking to us, you know what? One way when the spirit is speaking to you, like I said, it's clear, it's direct, it's in truth. One way to know when the spirit ain't speaking to you is you feel like manipulation. You're trying to justify things. There's distortion. It's not clear, it's fuzzy. The soul speaks through purity, through love. And that's what my soul was saying at that time. That's what God was telling me at that time. Hey, you're good. Look around you. Are you not safe right now? I am, but I need somewhere to stay 6 hours from now because I'm worried about right now. Are you not good? I am. Do you not trust that you're going to be taken care of? But ain't no ifs, ands, or buts. When you believe, that's it. That's all. I know I'm going to be taken care of. Somebody going to come and say, man, you sure you all right? Don't even ask me that. Yes, I'm sure. Didn't I tell you I was going to be all right? That's the manipulation. That's the distortion. Are you sure? When do you have to doubt God? God told you you're going to be good. What you talking about? Am I sure? God, are you sure? Who you talking to? It's just like your parents. When your parents tell you to do something, you be like, what? You sure? What? You heard what I tell you? Didn't I tell you to go in there? Don't question me. Don't question God. Don't go against yourself when you know it's in that truth. When you know it's from the soul, don't go against that. Stand on that. Say what you mean and mean what you say because that's God. Spirit says what it means and it means what it say. Ain't no doubt about it. And something, we have another anchor. And this one's going to be quite interesting because it comes from two different places, but it says the exact same thing. And so, in the beginning was Brahman, with whom was the Word, and the Word was Brahman. This comes from the Rig Veda. In the beginning was Brahman, with whom was the Word, and the Word was Brahman. This is from the Rig Veda. To some of you, that may sound familiar because it parallels John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the God. In the beginning was and the Word was God. Both relate to the power of divine sound, creation, the creative power which brings forth life. My words create worlds. My words create world. In the beginning, there was the Word that created the world. Yet somehow you believe that your words don't create worlds. Well, you must not believe that you are of God. Then who are you? Where you come from? This doubt is what we got to get out of and understand discernment, knowing who you are, knowing what your purpose is, and not playing with that no more. Because believe it or not, your words have the power to create worlds in the beginning. So this is not, again, this is not about your religious belief or any of that. We are talking about universal truths. And this is how you know it's the truth because you see it everywhere. The doubt is what pulls us apart. The fear is what pulls us apart. It's not this. No. It all correlates. It all relates. Just because you was born over here or born over there or you're or that color, gender, that gender, it don't change. Spirit is spirit. Universal God is just that, the most high. And what I'm experiencing and what I've learned being in Argentina, they speak Spanish. I may not understand their language. That's discernment. I'm not able to discern everything that they say. Yet you know what's being said. When you stop, pay attention, you know what's being said. They speak a different language. So if I say hi, it says hi. They say hola, I say hi. What's the difference between those two besides the way that those words roll off your tongue? But that feeling that it creates, the energy, you can feel that. So in the beginning was Brahman. In the beginning was the Word. We are separating things. We are the ones causing the chaos, spreading the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's not of God, speaking directly to you. You may not even have ever heard of the Rig Veda. You may not even know what it is, just like they may not have ever heard of John chapter 1, verse 1. Yet you're saying the same thing. That there's power in your words, that your words create worlds. And if the Word was with God and you are made in the image and it's in you, not on you, how dare you think that what you express doesn't create? How dare you think that what you express doesn't manifest? You my son, you my daughter. You got the nerve to doubt yourself. And I told you who you was. I told you was royal. That's the issue. You got the nerve. But just because you don't believe it doesn't mean you're not. You can renounce me all day. You're still royalty. You're still my son. You're still my daughter. That's the beauty of God. No matter how much you curse it, I'm still there for you. I'm still there for you. I'm still talking to you, whether you want to listen or not, just like your parents. Me personally, my grandma used to tell me all the time, I wasn't listening. I ain't listening, whatever. You don't know what you're talking about. But now that she's not here, you know what I hear loud and clear? All them lessons she was telling me when I was walking through this life and I was cursing God, and because what was taken from me, I didn't believe. It didn't ever stop. It's not that you're never able to hear. It's that you just choose not to listen. Is your voice being heard? Or are you part of the herd? You're moving so fast, but you heard it. You felt it. It's never not there. And all we doing is tapping back in, aligning ourselves back to it, saying, you know what? My apologies. My bad. You was right. Let me take accountability. You was telling me what to do. You was showing me which way to go. I wasn't listening to you. That's on me. And let me get myself right. Let me live my life inspired every day forever. To be inspired is to be in spirit. So here we go in every time we consult. Every move we make, we saying, show me. When I was in the midst of that party and there's hundreds of people in there, music is blasting, I sat right there and I said, show me what I need to see. Tell me when to go. Tell me. So that's exactly what I started doing. Let it go. Release it. Dance. It is what it is. Then the moment I was done dancing and the party was over, I said, go here. Then I went there. The door was closed. I said, but you told me to go this door. Now go here. Then I went there. That door was open, but they had no rooms. I said, you told me to say, now go here. There you go. But you know what normally happens? We go to the first and the door is closed. We say, you know what? See, I told you. No. To go to the first place, to get to the second place in order to get to the destination. You had to go through that pain. You had to experience that hurt. Can't avoid that. We're giving our power away to other people, saying this person did this. They did. Great. They did that. It's over there now. We right here now. They ain't doing it. You ain't going. You're not experiencing it anymore. Once you go through that door, you're on the other side. So why are you still focused on what happened over there? Not paying attention to what's happening right here. I could have been focused on how this third party service took my money and didn't give me a room. No, because even though they policy said no refunds, I got fully refunded. Then I found another place because the focus wasn't on staying in what had happened. It was recognized that happened. We got to do something else now. They hurt you. You got to do something else now. You can't continue to hurt yourself because of what they did. You're going to deprive yourself of living your life, of being in your purpose because of what they did. So now let's move into the practice, the living inspired every day forever in action. And that's going to come through our resonance alignment exercise. But again, like everything else, you can choose to or not. It's up to you. That is the beauty and the beast. But still, I'll provide it for you because that's me and my purpose, whether I wanted to or not. Because to be honest, I didn't want to do this. When I was a kid, I didn't see this. A few years ago, I didn't see this. Yet I accepted it. I accepted to be a guide. I accepted the ridicule and the naysayers and people who jump in the comments and want to talk down. I accept all that because we ain't living for that no more. We're not listening to that anymore. I am heard because I ain't part of the herd and neither are you. So let's get into it. The first step that we're going to do in this exercise is to sit tall. Don't sit tall. You know why? Because this is no longer our posture. We ain't doing this no more. We're not doing that no more. We're here. We're going to sit up. We're going to sit tall. Remember your teacher? Sit straight up in that chair. We're going to sit straight up. And we're going to place one hand on our throat, not to choke yourself out lightly, and place one hand on our heart. So we look like this. The next step is breathe deep. A lot of us ain't breathing deeply in life. We got shallow breaths, very anxious and fearful. Now we are going to breathe deep and sit tall in confidence. And what we're going to do next is going to show you the power of sound. We're going to softly so that we feel that vibration moving through the center. You can feel it. I can feel it calling in, yeah, tonight. So we want to sit tall. We want to put our hand, one on our throat, one on our heart center. And we're going to and feel that vibration moving. And then we're going to repeat this affirmation that my voice carries power, peace, and purpose. The three P's. My voice carries power, peace, and purpose. And lastly, you're going to ask aloud or internally, what truth in me is ready to be spoken? You're not going to rush it. You're going to be still. You're going to listen and feel it as it comes to you because it's going to be directly to you. It's going to be clear without distraction. You're going to say, what truth in me is ready to be spoken? And then you're going to speak it, not by words merely, but by actions, by living inspired your life. And then you can journal. You know what? Where have I withheld my truth? What healing could begin if I finally spoke it? Where have I withheld my truth? And what healing could begin if I finally spoke it? You hear the key? Could begin because we withheld the truth. Now we want to begin to finally speak as we begin to contrast that silence as suppression in our life. So we suppressing ourselves. We being silent because we suppressing our voice. Remember, I was the kid in class that didn't want to raise my hand, so I'm suppressing my voice and I'm being silent because I don't want to be wrong. Now we're going to contrast that with silence as strength. Well, now I'm being silent through discernment because I'm listening, not quick to speak. Don't want to just blurt out anything. I'm being silent. Shh, be quiet. Did you know that if you're quiet, people will tell you who they are? You can hear clearly a person's intent if you let them speak. But we want to talk over each other and prove something and try to be right. But then when it's time for us to speak, we want to be silent and suppress that voice. No, speak up now. Say it with your chest. What was that? You doubt you can. What was that? Say it out loud and see how crazy it sounds. So when we're silent as suppression, we're reactive. When we're silent as strength, we resonate. And so suppressing is withholding. We withhold out of fear. I ain't want to be wrong, so I'm sit on my hands and I ain't gonna say nothing. And because of that, I diminished who I really was. I diminished myself. Turns out I was actually pretty smart. I was actually an intelligent kid. Thankfully, I had a teacher pull that out of me because I was content on. I'm gonna suppress myself. Not gonna show too much. Do just enough to get by. Who you fooling? Yourself. People are glad that you're gonna suppress yourself. They're glad that you're not gonna be who you truly are. Because in that space, they can be you. In that space, we develop a conditioned response. There's that trauma response. We gonna people please. I don't want to lose you, so I'm not gonna speak the truth. I'm gonna just let you keep running over me. I'm gonna let you keep hurting me because I don't want to hurt your feelings by telling you to stop. I don't want to hurt your feelings by telling you I don't like that. I don't want to hurt your feelings by telling you you're wrong for doing that. That wasn't okay. So I let my boss just degrade me and talk to me any type of way because I don't want to lose my job. Damn it, you don't need that job then. Not if it's costing you that relation to yourself, your soul. And I'm not telling you to go out, change your mics. I'm telling you to take that up with God. Oh, but you're not going to sit there and just keep accepting that, trying to people please, accepting manipulation. For what? Just so you can be like, I got somebody. Nah, I got a job. Nah. Is that not draining? No wonder you feel exhausted in life. No wonder you feel fed up. I'm tired of being treated this way. I'm tired of my life being this way. You have the power to change any and all circumstances. You do. So when we are silent because we choose that strength, stillness is sacred. So we are being still. We're listening. Not everything needs a response. Sometimes when you respond, you're talking at the time when you should be listening. And then there are times where you're listening, suppressing, and you should be talking. Yay, nay. Liberated expression versus suppression. Life. They say, I think what's coming to me now is the difference between living one hell of a life and feeling like you live versus living in hell all your life. Being wise, and this is Wisdom Wednesday. Wisdom is not constant expression. So it's not, it is in that resonant communication, that silence, where your words and your intent are married. 4, he who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know. This is from the Tao Te Ching. He who knows does not speak. Because if I know what I'm speaking for, why I gotta convince you and tell you? But he who speaks, I know this, I know that. They don't know. Remember that. There is a time for everything. And it is time for you, for us to begin to speak life, to begin to live life. For there are power in your words, and your words have the power to create worlds. So what world have you been creating? What world do you live in? And are you ready to change it?